Well, it's the last day of March, so I should probably film a wrap up. This was one of my most productive months ever. I'm not really sure why. I think I've just been getting better sleep, and I've been prioritizing audiobooks over podcasts, and I've just been putting my eyes to paper more than I usually do. I've made a really concerted effort this year to read more and listen to more audiobooks. It's not just because of BookTube. It's also just that I have a lot of books that I really want to read, so I need to get to them. And I've just been having so much fun reading and listening to audiobooks. Like, this month was a banger. I can't wait to share them with you. So let's just get right into it. My Effin' Life by Geddy Lee. That book was awesome. I've got a video about it if you want to check it out. It's Geddy Lee's autobiography. He's the bassist and vocalist for Rush. It's beautiful. I loved it from start to finish. It's a must read for Rush fans. And I really hope you check out the video. I've also got my 5 favorite Rush songs in that video. Next up, we've got The Conquering Sword of Conan, which is the final book in the Del Rey Illustrated collection. And man, book was very good. Illustrations, beautiful. Audiobook, also really good. When I finished that, it marked my completion of every Conan story ever written by Robert E. Howard. So next week, I'm going to release a video about my experience reading that book along with the other 2 Conan books. And I'm just going to give like my favorite Conan stories from the collection. So hopefully you'll check that out too. Speaking of things that are going to come out next week-ish, The Long Tomorrow by Lee Brackett. Book is amazing. It's one of my favorite post-apocalyptic stories ever written. I read it because of Appendix N. I should have a review out next week about it or the week after. So I finally finished The Dread Empire, and that required me to read 3 books in March. And the first one was Reap the East Wind. And man, that book was hard to get through. I'm just going to talk about the next book in the series right now as well, which is An Ill Fate Marshalling. So Reap the East Wind and An Ill Fate Marshalling cover the same events, but from different perspectives. Like, Reap the East Wind takes up about 60% of the time in An Ill Fate Marshalling. Like, they run parallel. And then like the end of Reap the East Wind happens in An Ill Fate Marshalling, and then you get the ending for An Ill Fate Marshalling. I don't know why Reap the East Wind exists. The events in it are not very good. The book is very short. If you would have just cut a decent chunk out of it and then combined it with An Ill Fate Marshalling, I think you would have had a better book. It was by far the weakest book in the Dread Empire series, but luckily it's very short, so you're not suffering for very long if you're reading it. And it's not really even suffering, it's just not exciting like the rest of the series. After reading that, I took a break and I read Night Winds by Carl Edward Wagner. Holy crap, Carl Edward Wagner can write. I really want to do a review about Carl Edward Wagner and his works, but I think I'm going to wait a little while to do that. I want to read some more. I read some of his short fiction. I've read the first book in his Kane series, but maybe I'll get a few more under my belt, like his Conan pastiche. Yeah, your boy wrote a Conan pastiche. I'm super excited to check that out. I don't know if that one will be able to wait until Sumerian September, but it might. After that, I went back to the Dread Empire series and I read the final Dread Empire novel, A Path to Coldness of Heart. So that one takes place right after An Ill Fate Marshalling. But here's the thing. An Ill Fate Marshalling was written in 1988. A Path to Coldness of Heart didn't come out until 2012, which is just like, holy crap. Talk about waiting for a series to end. I'm going to have a whole story about what happened with that series and stuff. Like, Glenn Cook's manuscripts were stolen and he just was like, nope, not writing them. And then he finally did. And I'll talk more about those books in my wrap up for the entire Dread Empire series. I'm going to make a review of it. It's going to be a cross between like a introduction to the Dread Empire / my thoughts on the books, along with a reading guide. So I hope y'all check that out too. After I finished the Dread Empire series, I was kind of just done investing in things that weren't standalones. So I took a quick break and I read Jack of Shadows, which also has a review posted. So yeah, not only did I read a lot this month, I managed to review quite a few things, and I'm not done. A couple of these other ones are also going to get reviews. But yeah, Jack of Shadows by Roger Zelazny. I mean, it's Roger Zelazny. At this point, he can do no wrong with me. His worst book is To Die in Itabar, and it's still a good book. So I don't know what that means. Maybe Zelazny's my new favorite author. I guess we'll see. Thanks to Evie, I'll put her channel in the description. I read The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, and man, that book is the most original fantasy I have probably ever read. I don't think there's anything else that does what it does, and I don't think there's anything else that covers the style of fantasy that is in that book. It's very, very good. I don't know if I will make a review about it, but maybe I will. We'll see. After the spear cuts through water, I finally made it back to the Dying Earth. I love the Dying Earth, but man, Kugel's Saga by Jack Vance. You talk about a masterpiece. I loved it from start to finish. Kugel is such a scoundrel. He's even better in this than he was in the Eyes of the Overworld. And it's just so funny. I think that Jack Vance is like the master of the picaresque fantasy novel. I don't even know if picaresque fantasy novels are like a common thing. And just his ability to write the absurd in just enjoyable ways, it's so good. I will be making a review of that because, man, I just want to talk about it for a while. And I really hope other people will check it out. It was such a good way to end this month. This has been a pretty quick wrap up just because a lot of them are like, hey, I'm making a video or I've made a video, so go check those out. This month was really, really good for reading. Next month is going to start off with the most important book of the month, A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. Come read it with me. It's hilarious. You'll have a great time. There's a lot more to it than just a silly book, and I really want more people to read it. Recently, I went on Goodreads for it, which I'd never been to because I knew the book was good. I didn't need Goodreads to tell me it was good. I saw that, wow, it has 276,000 reviews. And then I saw that it only had like a 3.8 or 3.9 for a rating. And I'm like, well, let's see what the negative reviews look like. The negative reviews are almost as funny as the book. I know that the book is polarizing. It took my mom 5 years to finish it because she couldn't stand Ignatius. And then I had a bunch of friends that absolutely loved it. And then when I would bring it up to other people that have read it, I mean, it was like 50-50, love or hate. There's not a middle road. There's not a, oh, I kind of liked it. No, there's I hate it or I love it, like I said in my video about it. And the negative reviews are so funny. Maybe toward the end of the month, after I've read the book again, I'll do a video where I just react to negative reviews or just talk about the negative reviews and use them as a catalyst for discussion about the novel itself. Because man, there are some real haters in those threads. Some of my other plans for the month are I'm really wanting to read Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett. It's the last book in the Century trilogy. I really want to get to it. It's like 1,100 pages, so it's such a huge investment. Another theme for this month was I read a lot of short books, and I'm happy about it. I get a lot of enjoyment for my time invested, and I get multiple little stories instead of just one big chonker. There's just something special about short books. So it's been about 4 or 5 years, but I'm finally going back to the Culture series. I'm going to read Use of Weapons this month. I'm super excited about that. It's been too long since I read A Player of Games, and so I just can't wait to get some more Ian M. Banks writing on my eyeballs or in my ears. I read Consider Phlebas and A Player of Games in paper, but I'm really tempted to try Use of Weapons as an audiobook for a few reasons. One, audiobooks are just easier for me time-wise, and two, I'd just like to try experiencing the Culture series through audio instead of just my eyes on a book. Speaking of eyes on a book, I just got to take a minute. Now, you can see behind me bookshelves. I got bookshelves over there. I got bookshelves over there. I got another bookshelf right up here. I've got more bookshelves all through my house. I hoard books. I love books. You got to sniff books when you're reading them. But I got a confession. I really like ebooks. I really like ebooks. They're just so much easier. It's so convenient to lay in bed and read without having to have a light on. I'm just looking at my ebook reader and just flipping pages, and I just fall asleep. I drop my ebook reader on my bed. I don't drop a book on my face, and then I just stay asleep because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to lose my place in my book. It's amazing. And when I'm putting my daughter to bed, all the lights are off. She's relaxing. I've got this very dim light coming from my ebook reader. It's just such a joy to read. I hate to admit it. Ebooks are the future. I know I'm about a decade late to that. I've had an ebook reader this whole time. I just never really prioritized reading things on it over paper. Man, it's so much easier. Tear through books when I'm reading on ebook, and I don't forget anything. I know some people have an issue with that where they read ebooks and they just in through their eyes and then just out through whatever and they just can't remember what they read, but I'm not like that. It's no different than paper for me. That's a confession I didn't think I'd ever make. The rest of my plans for next month are read more Glenn Cook. Project's still going. Speaking of ebook readers, I'm reading Petty Pewter Gods right now, and that book's real good. I think that's got to be one of the best Garrett P.I. novels that I've read so far. That's book 8. Man, it started off with a bang, and it's everything I love in the series all happening in that book. Super funny too. Man, it's funny. That's one of the things I enjoy about the Garrett P.I. novels is the humor. It's just really, really good. Maybe I'll make a review for that too. Yeah, this was a fantastic month. I really hope that April is just as productive. Just keep chipping away at that backlog. I need to get my productivity of reading somewhere close to how quickly I add things to my TBR. I mean, it's never going to be close, but you know, I got to put in the effort. I really enjoyed this month. I really hope that some of you give these books a chance and check out my reviews for the ones that I did review. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of those. Let me know if there's anything related to these books that I could look into for April. I would like to read Rialto the Marvelous in April, and I probably will because it'll be easy to fit in. And then I'll have read all the Dying Earth, which means I get to move on to Songs of the Dying Earth, edited by George R.R. Martin, with some of the best science fiction and fantasy writers of all time writing Dying Earth stories. That'll be really cool. But yeah, I've been up since 2 a.m. for work, so my brain's a little fried, and I definitely feel like I'm rambling at this point. So thanks for watching. Check out my reviews, and I'll see you next time.